What's going on, YouTube? This is Boxingwave, and I wanted to make a final video on Devin Haney against Lomachenko. Obviously, I was against the majority that believed that Lomachenko was robbed. Okay, I don't believe that fight was a robbery at all. It was too close and too competitive of a fight to be a robbery. All right. I did live commentary the other day, and we had a good amount of people here. And when it came down to it, the scorecards, and this is why I like for people to leave their scorecards in the comments. Before the actual scorecards, the official scorecards were announced, I asked all of you, how did you feel? I think the majority of the people, at least in my chat, right? And I know that doesn't speak for the majority of boxing fans. But I know the majority of the people that was here felt like it could have gone 7-5 either way, that it was a draw. You had a lot of 7-5s for Loma. You had some 7-5s for Devin Haney. I thought that that's what we got before the official scorecards came out. When Haney won the fight, and when people heard the 116-112 scorecard, I think that triggered most of the boxing community that night. And then, it kind of went downhill from there when it comes to Devin Haney, and the robbery claims began. All right. Look, the reason why I'm going to back out of this after making this video, I'm not going to go live. I'm not going to talk about it. It's been, I've gotten like close to 600 comments on my one review of the fight. And that doesn't include all the comments that I read during the live commentary, all the comments that I've had in my breakdown of the fight, and other, content that I've made that people are going back to and leaving comments on. It's starting to turn into something else. And I'm not trying to go there with you guys, because I respect my supporters, my longtime supporters on this channel. I'm getting too many comments, racial-based comments. I try my best on this channel. As much as boxing has race has an influence on people's views on boxing, I try not to just make it all about race. I like to give you analysis based on what I'm seeing in the ring. It's not always popular what I say. I think this happens every couple years where there's a fight where the majority of people feel one way and I feel the other. Okay? This one is going to be one of the biggest ever based on the reaction. I think it's an overreaction. I watched the fight that night. I thought it could have gone either way. I thought it was close. It could have gone either way. I watched it again with the commentary and the sound on, because as I'm watching and doing commentary, I have to have the sound real low because I don't want the fight to get picked up, and I don't want it to get picked up because of the sound, all right, and get flagged by YouTube and ESPN. So I watched it with the commentary and the sound, and I came to the conclusion that Devin Haney won the fight. All right. It was still close, but instead of saying it could have gone either way, I actually believe Devin Haney won the fight. All right. I gave my reasoning behind it. I think Devin Haney was consistent throughout the entire fight. If it wasn't for the 10th and 11th rounds, I thought it would have been an even more clear win for Devin Haney. But those 10th and 11th rounds, which were pretty dominant, clear rounds for Lomachenko, I think it definitely has a huge influence on how people feel about the fight overall, because those fights were so clear for him, and it looked like Haney got buzzed by a couple of the shots that he got hit with. He still didn't go down, all right? I don't think he was hurt. I think he was a little buzzed by a couple of the shots. But they were really, really strong rounds for Lomachenko. I'm hearing things like, the odds they were a huge favorite for Lomachenko going into the 12th. I'm not surprised by that, because he had two really, really strong rounds going into the 12th, and he lost the 12th round. Okay, and he lost the fight, and I think a lot of people lost money that night. You know, a lot of people lost money that night. But look, as far as how I feel about the fight, I know I'm not the majority. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with that. I know what I saw, and I'm not gonna my position on the fight is not gonna sway in the favor of who said what. I saw Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis and Nelly and all of these celebrities that's come out and said that this fight. I mean, I even subscribe to channels that are not boxing channels at all, that basically picked Lomachenko to win. They thought that Loma got robbed, or they thought that, you know, let me just say something about the robbery thing. The robbery thing is based on the 116, 112 card, I believe. I think most people that are saying that because of that specific card. I think a lot of people feel that Lomachenko won 7 rounds. Like, a lot of Loma fans are telling me, most of them, like 80% of them are saying Loma won 7 rounds to 5. Okay? And then I hear a lot, at the very least, it should have been a draw. I mean, and when people say that, they mean that Haney didn't win in their eyes. And that's fine. That's cool. If that's your position, that's your position. Obviously, we disagree, but we move on. It is what it is. But calling this one of the biggest robberies of boxing history is extremely far-fetched. Like, where have you been? Did you just start watching boxing this week? You had to. Because last week was one of the biggest robberies that we got in recent years. And I'm talking about Rolly Romero. Where were you for that fight? You know what I mean? What are we doing? What are we talking about here? As far as the racist comments, it's not the first time, but I'm getting a lot of them. I couldn't even finish going through my comments because, you know, I felt like 1 out of every 5 of the comments that I was getting had to do with race, which is kind of crazy to me because they're not from my supporters, clearly. And my supporters are all around the world. I have a lot of European supporters here on my channel, and that's statistically, that's not me just saying that. I have supporters around the world. I've been covering Lomachenko and his career for the past decade. Okay? My first breakdown of Lomachenko was against Salido. Those videos are still up. And I've been doing work on him his whole career. All right? Now, I'm not the only one that has done that, but we've been in battles over Lomachenko on here, on the outcome of the Salido fight, the ringing down fight. A lot of you were here for that. And we know that was another really strong racially influenced kind of fight, like this one. The thing is, I was on the other side on that one when it came to that because I defended Lomachenko going into that fight. I also defended Lomachenko when it came to whether or not he should fight Haney or Teofimo Lopez. I was one that said that he should fight Teofimo Lopez simply because at that time, Teofimo had a full title on it at the time. And I felt like that was a more important unification than the WBC mandatory. I did say that. You know, I didn't say that Devin Haney was being dubbed by Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that. I actually defended Lomachenko because Teofimo Lopez had the better wins at that time. And I felt like Teo earned his fight more so than Devin Haney. So it wasn't just about the mandatory and the unification, which I feel like unification should trump the mandatory, but it also involved me just personally. I just thought Teofimo at that time was a little bit ahead of Devin Haney, and I defended Lomachenko there. All you racist comments, people, like all you guys that come here, the thing about me being black and having a black boxing channel, all right, being a black analyst on here, is just like many other channels on YouTube. Okay, a lot of people, and this is the sad reality, a lot of boxing fans love to come to black boxing channels to hear their views because of them being black. A lot of you coming here, like the other day when I was on live, there's somebody in my chat room calling me PBC boy. Is this one of the, you know how many comments I get that? Is this one of those LDBC boys? Is this one of boy? LDBC boys, PBC boys. You know what that means. You're basically calling me the N-word without calling me the N-word. I get those comments all the time, but I ignore them. Why? Because I'm not going to get triggered by that. Like, when you come and leave comments like that on my channel, like you come in my space and you're going out your way to try to get me rattled, I look at you as in being beneath me. I'm very comfortable in my skin, unlike a lot of other people. I'm very, very comfortable, and I'm happy. So if you are coming at me like that, you're just you're beneath me. I'm minding my business. What are you doing here? Why do you want to hear my views? You want to hear my views because I'm black and it's an opportunity for you to troll. All right. So I know when people come here, I know they see you. It's all about your face first. And then they want to hear what you're going to say. You know, whether you're going to pick the black fighter. I've defended Lomachenko plenty of times, and I've been critical of him plenty of times. He's never taken accountability in any of his losses. And he didn't again here. I saw him crying. Listen, Lomachenko, what I love about him is that he didn't have it easy. He came in going straight at the best. All right. His first two fights, he went at champions. I respect him for that. All right. He didn't have it easy. He didn't have to go all the way up to lightweight and fight these bigger guys as he's declining. He could have sat around at 126 for as long as he wanted. He could have sat around at 130 and tried to be undisputed there. But he tried to do it at 135 where the competition is thick. So I respect him for that. All right. But at the end of the day, his biggest flaw, and it's a very obvious one, is that he gives way too many rounds away in the early rounds. Every single fight. Like I said, those 3 losses, the official losses that they try to avoid showing you, they have no choice now because it's 3 of them. But when it was just 1 or 2 of them, people will always try to dismiss at least one of those 2 losses. And it's because he takes too long to wake up. All right? Hurt Salido late. Rallied late. It was too late. Hurt Teofimo, not hurt Teofimo, but rallied late against Teofimo. Those 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th rounds were clear. Dominant rounds for Lomachenko. But you already gave up 7. You already gave up 7 rounds. And you lost to 12. Just like you did in this fight. You lost to 12. And in my opinion, he gave up way too many rounds early on. I thought this fight wasn't as clear as the Teofimo loss. All right? It wasn't as clear. I thought the Teofimo loss was a clear loss to me. But I still think Devin did enough to pull off the win. All right? Those body shots do count. And they were throughout the entire round. Devin will start out, boom, 2 right hands to the body. They are effective. Okay? They do slow you down. You don't have to score a knockdown for those fights, those punches to be effective. All right. And he did more things other than that. It's not like that's all he gave you. You know what I mean? Lomachenko did well too. He had his moments. He fought in spurts. But I pick consistency over just spurts and certain points of the fight where you attack. You know, 10th and 11th rounds were very, very strong rounds. But again, just like the Teofimo Lopez fight, Loma fans back then, including himself, felt that they won the fight based on dominant late rounds. That's not how we score boxing. The first round count, just like the 12th round count. Every round counts. We're adding up, we're tallying up who won. There's no knockout. That's how it goes. So I don't care how many pro boxers said in the building, Lomachenko won. Because I've gone to fights in the building and felt like a fighter won until I came home and watched it with no one else around me and said, oh shit, I don't feel that way anymore. It's happened. And I respect all of these boxers. And I respect some of the content creators that totally disagree with me. It's fine. You know why? Because when I'm with my friends and my family and we're watching the game, you know, the basketball game, or if we're watching boxing or we're watching football or whatever sport that we're watching, and we're going at each other's throats about who won or who's better between Jordan, LeBron, or whoever, it gets heavy, it gets heated, you know, it gets loud, you know, and we start having jokes at each other. It is what it is. But that's all I see it. Some of you guys taking a little too far. Taking it a little too far. But you know what? That's what the internet is for. It is a safe space to be tough, you know, to be, you know, to throw shots and throw insults, racial insults, a lot of them. It's all good, though. I mean, if that's all you got, I didn't even block any of you. I left the comments up there so you guys could see them. Let them sit there. You know, let people see what's going on. I'm not going to screenshot them and post videos of what. I'm not doing all that. I'm not giving you guys all that time. I'm just going to let them sit there and let you guys sit there. I'm not going to block any of you. You know why? Because I want you guys to come back. Because you will. You will. Because you care about what I'm going to say that bad. You know, and that's why some of these channels are as big as they are. Because you guys claim to hate them. But you keep watching this shit. If you hate them, why are you watching their videos? You know why? That's why they got some, because you care about what they got to say. Even if you disagree it, you want to have something to talk about. You're entertained about, you're entertained with channels, with narratives that push narratives that you can't stand. And then you come to my channel asking me about it. The other black channel. Ooh, what do you feel about this channel? What do you feel about these? Stop coming here asking. Are we here for boxing? Or are we here to gossip about what other people do? I don't care what other people do. I told you guys all the time. I show love to channels I support. I'm not going to sit here and talk and gossip about other channels that I don't support. You feel me? So I'm going to leave it at that. As far as the future of these two fighters, you know, I don't know what Lomachenko wants to do. I think he's clearly past it, okay? He's still very, very good, of course. He's still a top-tier fighter at 135, but it doesn't get any easier from here. You know, and I said this on a live the other day about both. It doesn't really get easier from here. It's a very, very tough division. You know, so if you are going to stick around, just understand that if you don't get the rematch with Haney, and that's a possibility because sometimes the sanctioning bodies do order rematches. So we might get a rematch. And you know what? I wouldn't be mad at the rematch. I feel Devin Haney won, and I think if they were to have a rematch, he would win in even more clear. I think it would be no different from Castillo and Mayweather. I think in a rematch, it'll be even more clear. Because Loma, I've been seeing this pattern for a little while now. And I don't think it gets any better. I don't think he can fight at a full 12 rounds at a very high level. I just don't think he can do it at this point. I just see him walking forward and walking straight into right hands and not being able to avoid them like the way he used to be able to do it. He can't do it like that. He's still very good, but it doesn't get any easier from here. I think he will be a Hall of Famer just off the strength of what he did in that short period, that short run of fights that he have. He doesn't have a lot of fights, but being the greatest amateur ever, being a two-time Olympic gold medalist, and picking up the wins that he did pick up, three division champion, a former unified champion. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, okay, without a doubt. But as far as being undisputed, I think that was his last chance, unless he were to go back down to 130, which is not nearly as competitive. It's solid, but it's not, it's not nearly as difficult, or, top rank, in my opinion, they're going to use him against Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur would dominate him. Shakur would dominate him, in my opinion. It wouldn't be, any robbery claims. I think it would just be very, very clear, even much more clear than the Devin Haney fight, all right? Which was a lot, which was competitive. It was very competitive, all right? But I don't really see many options, being that he's with Top Rank. I don't think Devin fights Shakur, at 135. I think that fight, even him here in the interview says, yeah, we're on a collision course, and I see some point down the line, I see that fight happening at some point. It might happen at 140. It might happen at 147. Once I heard him say that, it just confirmed what I already felt. That fight does not happen at 140. And you know what? Not for nothing. Top Rank have no reason to protect Devin Haney. He's not with them. He's not their fighter. He can go as he please. He doesn't even need to stay there. I told you guys this before the fight. I said, you guys that were leaving comments about Haney and the possibility of him being robbed in a close fight, I said to you guys that it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I didn't see a robbery on either side here. I didn't see a robbery. It's just the way I feel about the fight. And I think Devin Haney has a million options. If he doesn't rematch Loma, I think that he will be trying to secure a fight with Tank. Hopefully they fight. I think that is the most realistic fight. I think that people believe in that he lost the fight, or even if you think he won, I think most of us can agree that he took a lot of straight left hands. And I think if he were to take those same punches from Tank, he'd probably get knocked out. Being that most people feel that he lost the fight and that Loma was robbed, people are going to root for Tank. Even the people that hate Tank, they're going to root for him in that fight. They're going to root for anybody that fights Devin Haney next. Anyone that takes the fight. So I think Tank is, the chances of that fight happening is even greater to me, because Devin Haney is obviously a free agent. He could go as he could please. Hopefully they don't try to lowball him. But there's, I don't know what the pay-per-view numbers did. Hopefully they did good numbers, solid numbers. But regardless, of the pay-per-view numbers. It's just the fact that everybody is talking about this fight. It's the hype behind this fight between Haney and Lomachenko. Everybody's talking. The build up, simply because of the robbery talks, is actually working in his favor. And that's why I said you might as well play the villain role, because everybody hates you. You are boxing's public enemy number one right now. People will boo you against Tank, against Ryan, against Shakur, against Loma in a rematch. You can fight anybody. You can fight Isaac Cruz. You're going to get booed. Anybody you face, people are going to be looking for you to lose. And people are going to be tuning in hopes you get knocked out. People are dying to see you lose at this point. You might as well run with it. You have, undisputed. You might as well run with it. I also believe that Ryan Garcia is an option. I think it is now. Because if he can't get Tank and if he can't get a fight, which makes a lot of sense to him, business-wise, opportunity-wise, I can see them saying, oh, put Ryan in there with him. If people really feel he lost the fight, if Golden Boy and Oscar already has come out and said he thinks Haney lost the fight, all right, well, put him in there with your boy. They'll make that a pay-per-view, and they'll do phenomenal numbers. They'll be doing even better numbers than this. You got public enemy number one. It'll be, I don't know if it'll be undisputed or at 140. I don't know. But they'll do the numbers. He has plenty of options. I just don't think Shakur is an option right now. I would love for it to happen. And I do think Shakur beats Haney. I think Tank beats Haney, but I've said this before the fight. This fight with Loma, I already felt that before this fight. I felt that Tank and Shakur would beat the winner of this fight. That's just my personal opinion. All right, but Haney is the man. He is the guy that's holding all four titles at the end of the day, and I respect Haney as well, because Haney was a guy that was going to these guys' fights and calling them out. Ryan, Teofimo Lopez, he's won at Lomachenko. All of these fights he won it all this time, and he talked this shit all the way through. He's been wanting Tank. He's been calling out all of these guys. All right, so I respect him, and it was a good win. And that's it, man. I don't think there's anything else to really say about this. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. Yeah, I think I'm done. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys, again, please, if you are new, subscribe to the channel. All right. I will tell you this, and I'll close out with this. Just know that I'm always going to give you how I see it. Honestly. I'm always going to give it to you how I see it, even if it's not the popular opinion. I think most of you know that. All right. I'm always going to give it to you the way I see it. Sometimes, and if you are new here and you love, because I got a lot of love in the comments that I got too. So I don't want to just address the hate. I got a lot of love. But if you are new here, just know that I'm gonna make a video at some point that you're gonna 100% disagree with me. But just know that it's how I actually feel. You know what I'm saying? If I watch a fight, I'm gonna tell you how it is. Whether or not I love the fighter or not, I'm gonna always tell you how it is. All right. And in this fight, I love both fighters. I love Haney. I love Lomachenko. I've been covering this guy for nearly 10 years now. I love Lomachenko, but his flaws are very obvious. Very, very obvious, even in his prime. But you guys cannot tell me that guy from Saturday night is anywhere near what he was a few years back. That's not the same fighter. He's still very good, but that's not. He has to rely on his opponent slow it down in order to compete at this point. You know, and it shows. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Again, I'm out. Subscribe if you are new. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.